What's up, my PT peeps? One Eye Bri back to talk about The Walking Dead and do a discussion about a huge comic death coming to the show, possibly. Spoiler warning if you're not up to date on the comic and the show, I guess, but mostly the comic. If you don't know what's going on as of issue 167, the latest issue of the comic, stop watching now, or if you don't want to know. So here we go, guys. So issue 167 came out a couple days ago, and something big happened. But on the show, Rick is with Michonne, not Andrea. And we'll talk about the comic in a second. But will the comic impact the show that just happened? If you know what I'm talking about, good. If not, I'll explain it right here. So Rick, issue 167, Andrea's still alive in the comic. Rick is with Andrea, not Michonne. And Andrea got bit by a walker, scratched by a walker, something with a walker on her neck. It wasn't really clear what happened, but she was going to die and become a walker. Rick knew that, found out about it at the end of issue 166. 167 was all about saying goodbye to Andrea and the whole big thing that Andrea was going to die. So it was Andrea's death issue. In the show, Andrea died in season 3. On the comic, she just died recently. So it's very different than on the show. But people are asking about how will this impact the show. And only time will tell, because right now, as I make this video, they're at around issue 114, 115, and Andrea's long gone. But the Andrea-Rick dynamic never happened on the show. The Michonne-Rick dynamic is something totally new. So will they carry over that? Is Andrea the Michonne and Michonne the Andrea comic show? You see what I'm talking about. But we never got the full Andrea-Rick, and they alluded to it in season 1 that something may happen in season 2. She was getting better with the gun and stuff, and then it fell apart, and something happened with her contract or something, but season 3, she died. Then season 6, we got Rick and Michonne, Team Michonne. I'm a supporter of Rick and Michonne. I love both the characters. Michonne's my favorite character, so that's not a problem. I don't see any problem with that. But will Michonne, well, she took the place of Andrea. So will Andrea's death in issue 167 eventually come to the show? Now, it ain't going to happen anytime soon. So it's not going to be season 8, season 9, maybe season 12 or something. I don't know down the road how many issues and what they do if they stick to the comic. But Rick and Michonne are a team. They're a power couple. You can't kill either of them characters off, and you can't kill both of them characters off by any means, too. Whereas Rick's the focal point of the show, and Michonne is such a strong character that it kind of blurs what could happen, because Andrea is Andrea, Michonne is Michonne, and Michonne is with Ezekiel in the comic, and Andrea is with Rick, and it's just kind of crazy what happens. And Michonne's a different comic character, but I could see possibly in the comic down the road that Michonne becomes a partner with Rick. Michonne is extremely strong in both the comic and the show, but in the comic she just has not become romantically involved with Rick. Maybe down the road she does, because Andrea's gone, and Andrea's gone in both the show and the comic now. And definitely in season 7 finale, this is an homage to Andrea, the character of the comic Andrea, because you can tell by the hair, the look. I mean, all she needed was some freckles on her cheeks, the way she looks through the scope, the way she looks through, you know, everything, the focal point of the sniper area, just like right here. There's Andrea, comic Andrea, this woman, like Farah or Fire or something, I forget her name. Her character was the Scavengers, but she died and move on from it. But it was a nice little connection with the comic and the show, and I guess Kirkman kind of timed it perfectly, coming around the same time, where Andrea's death was inevitable, and the show kind of portrayed a little bit of comic Andrea with Michonne in the sniper position. So it was pretty cool. I like to see the little connections between the show and the comic. And so the big question is, will Michonne die Andrea's death? We just don't know. I think it would be crap if she did. I could see more like Carol or somebody dying like that, where she sacrifices herself. And if you don't know the previous issue, Andrea saved Eugene from walkers and got scratched or bit on the neck by, you know, it wasn't really a clear bite, so we just don't know. She just had to circle around her at the end of the issue, and then that happened. But Michonne's laid up here. There's a good picture of Rick at the bedside of Andrea in the comic, and makes you think like, oh, maybe possibly down the road right here, Rick is at the bedside of Andrea, dying Andrea. She's clearly dying. There's no way to save her. But Andrea and Michonne are two different characters, and they're both alive in the comic, or they were alive in the comic, not on the show. So it blurs things. It just makes it kind of muddy. So it's like the we just don't know thing, and people hate that answer, but we don't. But I don't want to see Michonne die that death. I don't want to see her go out ever, let alone trying to save Eugene in that way. So we'll have to wait and see. But Michonne being such a strong character, I just don't see her dying that way. Like I said, I could perceive Carol dying that way, saving someone and then getting bit and then dying at the bedside even earlier than what it would be. So because Carol's character is definitely different on the show and the comic as well. But as for Michonne dying the Andrea death, who is basically surrogate Andrea on the show, I just don't see it happening, and I don't want it to happen because Michonne's my favorite character, and I definitely don't want her to ever die on the show. I want her to be the last people standing on the show at the very end of the series. But as for Rick and Michonne, Team Michonne for sure. If you haven't picked up issue 167 of The Walking Dead, it's a great issue. I wouldn't start there if you're not up to date on there too. I would read some previous issues to get caught up with it, but only time will tell for the death of if it comes to the show. Check out my book on Amazon, available now. Fight for Us, the beginning, and we're working on the second one, letting you know we're getting closer every day. I try to edit and progress it every day for Fight for Us Reunited. So there you go, guys. Will the show have that death of Andrea? We just don't know. Only time will tell. Post your comments below what you think. Hit that subscribe button to join our team, Team PT. Subscribe today to get more videos. We post videos every day about The Walking Dead and various topics. You guys are awesome, and thank you for watching, guys.